Hey there. So, we're talking about lessons from a pandemic. Not just any pandemic, probably the one that we're just trying to come out of. That's the pandemic. But what lessons have you learned? It feels good that we're coming out of this. And if all the numbers are right, things are getting better, and we're starting to get back to life in a lot of ways. A lot of people are starting to go back into work and lighten up on the working from home kind of thing. And before we jump too fast and too furious into the future, it's good to take a look back. What have we learned? What have we gained from this? What are our priorities? What did we learn about those priorities? What did we learn about ourselves? What did we learn about the people around us? What did we learn about the skills that we have that we didn't even really know that we had? Whether they were just coping skills or skills on how to work remotely and all of that. Take stock of those lessons. What can we use going forward? Yes, we want to get back to normal, but we also want to take lessons with us. If we don't take note of the things that happen to us and how we respond, it doesn't do us any good for how we respond next time. John Maxwell says experience is not the greatest teacher. Evaluated experience is the greatest teacher. So how do we evaluate this pandemic? And I wrote down those 4 topics because those are, what did I learn about my priorities? Well, I learned that my family, above all, mattered most to me. Now that's easy. I probably would have said that before the pandemic, but I don't know that I would have understood it as deeply, that I would have known how that was the case. But I spent so much time with my family during the pandemic, and I'll get back to that when I talk about the people. But that was big. My priorities, my wife and I in this house together for well over a year, we had a great time together. We haven't had that much together time since we've been married, and it was wonderful. And that became a huge priority. And as we begin to leave the house more and begin to do things a little more independently, I don't want to lose that. And that's important to me. And how do we hang on to that as the world gets busy again? What do we learn about ourselves? We spent more time with ourselves, not seeing as many other people. What do we learn about us? That's an interesting one. Who is that person in the mirror? Do you know more about them now than you did 15, 16 months ago? Who were the people that were important to you? Again, that was one of my priorities, but who are the people that you had in your bubble? And who are the people that you still cared about and still worried about that weren't quite in your bubble? And did they need to be? Do you need to shift that? When we started the pandemic, I had a very young granddaughter. And for the first month, we didn't see our kids or our granddaughter. And all of a sudden, we're like, this is crazy. And, I had certain risk factors that we were trying to be careful of. And, but I also needed to see my children and my granddaughter. It had to happen. And we made an exception. We created a bubble of people that we would spend time with. And it started out with my granddaughter and my kids. And then it expanded. My mom came down to Florida, and we added her to the bubble. And then there were a couple of other people that were very, very cautious, like us, and we included them in our bubble. So we had just a very small handful of people, and that was our bubble. But there was a longing for some others that weren't in our bubble, and that tells you who the people that are important to you are. Not just the people you let in, but also the people that you truly missed during that time. What skills did you find that you had? When you look at this time that we had to do things differently. We had to shake it up a bit. We had to we found we could grocery shop from home. We found lots of ways to do things efficiently because we couldn't get out and do them. And now as we get out, do we still have to do all those old tasks the same way we did them? What are the skills that we've learned? And those are just 4 topics that I came up with in a short period of time. And I'm sure there's many more areas for us to explore the lessons. But the bottom line here is explore the lessons. I'm going to continue over the next few weeks, at least in my own mind, going through some of the lessons and the things that I've learned, because just putting that list of 4 things together, I realize how powerful it is. So let's see what we've learned during this pandemic. See what you've learned that you can take forward. And then you can bring forth as we come out of this time that we've been in. Hope this helps. Have a great day. And if I can find the mouse, I'm going to hit finish.